G'day, Professor Joseph Drew here. I was asked the question the other day, would I recommend going into academia, trying to become an academic? In this video, I'll go through my reasons for and against and tell you my conclusion. My own journey is that I became an accidental academic, like an awful lot of people. When you Google image of accidental academic, lots and lots and lots pop up. So I'm not the only person, and I think that's often the case. Occasionally I've met some people who've gone out of their way to become an academic, but that's more unusual than not. In my particular case, I had a very bad motorbike accident. I was years being screwed together, didn't have much else to do, couldn't do anything with my body, so I decided to invest in my human capital, in my brain. And in my particular situation at the time, it was the best option that was open to me. But now that I'm retired and reflecting on my career, I'm thinking about all the bad things. So for me, I was blessed. I had a good income and a good job for many years, about 13 years all up. But there were a lot of bad things about this occupation. I'd been in a lot of occupations in the past, in the military, in the retail banking sector. Trolley boy is the best job I ever had for Woolies. A school teacher. I'd had lots of jobs, so it was my only job, like some academics. But reflecting back on it, I can see a lot of bad things. Um, the biggest thing is the truth is still out there. It's amazing how often roadblocks are put in front of you to pursue the truth when you're an academic. I thought naively going into academia that all that would matter would be how smart I was and how well I wrote, and then the strength of my evidence. No, it's not. A lot of it's about your patron, which uni you went to, who's running the journal, whether your evidence is consistent with prevailing ideologies and opinions. Unfortunately, the truth isn't much of the story at all in Western academia, and certainly academia in Australia now, in a lot of universities and just in general. A lot of the journals are turning into op-ed opinion piece machines. Some of our most reputable A-ranked journals are no longer interested in evidence. They're no longer interested in having a theory, getting some data, doing some econometrics, talking about how that relates to the theory and having a conclusion. They're just not interested. It's a very, very sad state of affairs, and they're letting down the public, and it's redefining what it means to be an academic in the West, and certainly in Australia. Australia's got a big problem with this, more so than other countries, but they're all in the West going that way. The standard of reviewers is appalling, and basically, if you're not publishing, you're not having a job. But in the great COVID purge, where they got rid of most of the experienced academics, and there were some ideological purges too, we lost that level of expertise and sensibleness of those older professors. And now the chances are your reviewer is going to have no idea what they're talking about. They're going to be a young academic, very, very opinionated, and not even capable of evaluating the evidence if they could set their opinions and ideology aside long enough. So it's just become an ideological shouting match, and it's really, really disappointing because, as I say, we're letting down society. And this is getting into other countries too. I've got colleagues in many countries abroad, and it's slowly permeating into there too, where ideological positions and opinions are becoming more important than evidence and the pursuit of truth, which is really, really sad and alarming. It should alarm people. And I should have said one of the other big problems, particularly in Australia, is the public servantness change to being run by public servants, as so many of my senior managers in recent years have been senior public servants who have been catapulted into the highest ranks of university, unlike the days when it used to be the academics who elected the heads of schools and the vice chancellors and whatnot. Now their appointments being made, and they're not being made from the academic pool. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised that academia is looking less and less like academia every year. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about any university I've ever worked for or I'm currently working for, because that would have been a thing that one just wouldn't want to do. And the universe where I'm adjunct, actually, most of this does not apply to them. They're actually really good old-fashioned university, but they're few and far between now. The good things, well, it was a good wage, quite clear about that. My professor's salary was a good salary. Not as high as what a director's salary would be in a local government. Local government economics was my field, so the typical director is earning more than a professor. So you have general manager, sometimes a deputy general manager, you might have 3 or 4 directors. The typical director's earning less, and they don't have a PhD, which means they didn't have to invest 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of their life into studying before they could earn it. So if you're after a dollar, there's probably better ways of getting it. There was a time when being an academic was a really safe job, particularly if you got into the professorial ranks. There's no job security now at all. You've only got to Google, look on ABC online to see that I'm telling you the truth there. So if you're going into it for job security, you're going into it for the wrong reason. If you're going into it for a high salary, yes, it's good, but there's better out there. One of the things I think is a big plus for academia is you give yourself a license to think. You say, okay, my job's an academic now, I should be thinking and I should be spending time thinking. Unfortunately, because of the work pressures, you're going to spend most of the time that you're thinking in your own time. You're not going to have time in work time. One of the things that was a real eye-opener for me as a professor, how little time I ever had to read papers and books, which is really, really interesting, isn't it? So, yes, you give yourself license to think, but you're constantly frustrated that you don't have time to think. So would I recommend becoming an academic? Clearly not. Would I let my children become an academic? Well, not without a fight. If they really want to do it, if you really want to do it, if your heart's set on becoming a professor and you can put up with all the bad things and really enjoy the really good things, you just go for it. Don't let me put you off. But realistically, there's much better much better options out there, and I wouldn't recommend it these days. Would I have recommended becoming an academic 20 years ago? You bet ya. 15 years ago? Probably. 10 years ago? Not so much. It shows you things have changed radically in recent times, particularly since COVID. COVID was the beginning of the end of Western academia, and it's very, very sad. As I say, there's still some exceptional institutions out there. There's still places like the university where I'm adjunct professor, but they're less and less every day, and it's very sad. Look, let me know what you think. Maybe you disagree and you've got some great reasons for disagreeing. Let me know what your reasons are. That's what this is all about. Just trying to help out people. Remember to help me to help others by subscribing, liking, and asking someone else to watch a video. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.